Okay, yeah, okay, dustbin, right, dustbin, right.
Yeah.
Code cam dispose, right. So let me use that for instance. Okay, so I'll just create a simple HTML page, right? But I believe the front end guy should give you that page. Okay, so I'll go to the new file. Let's just say deposit for HTML, but they're going to be deposited, right? And right here will just be a simple HTML format that doesn't do anything at this point in time, right? So here we could just send a simple form, it will just be a form, right? A form that's a post, all right? Form that's a post, we submit to, we don't have that yet, we'll create the URL for that yet, but for now, let's just see what has to be done. So let's say someone wants to make a deposit, okay? Someone wants to apply for, let's say, book those guys in the code camp dispose of man dispose his waste, right? So let's assume that there's a point in our there's a point in our front end that says pick a plan, or should I say subscribe to our plan. Let's assume that they're subscribing to like a monthly plan, okay? So subscribe to our plan, and that means that they will dispose your waste for a plan, sorry, for a particular month, okay? So we could just come here and set this input that says select input that's missing it. Where are you? Where are you? Okay. Alright, so let's just use radio buttons in this case. Input as radio buttons. Radio, okay. So the name of this thing here would be in our case we will do label or probably label, yeah. And this one would be plan one, okay, plan one. This was a simple HTML that says plan one is for, let's say, 10,000 naira a month, okay, 10,000 naira a month, okay. And then this one will be for plan one, okay, plan one, and the name of this one would be plan one, okay. Then we break this, okay, break, okay, break, alright. Okay, let's see. Copy this. Oh, what's going on? Sorry. Copy this, and then we paste it several times. Like this one would be for 15,000 naira a month. 15,000 naira. This is 1,000 naira. Not should be 10,000. So that's 10,000 naira a month. So this one here would be for let's say this one here would be for 20,000 naira, right? 20,000 naira for, let's say, for 3 months. Let's make it very fancy, like let's make it eye catching, right? So you save you 10,000 naira if you do for 3, and for if that's if you pay for 3 months at once, okay? 10,000 naira rather than paying 10,000 naira for 3 months, which will cost you 30,000 naira. And this one would be for 2 months. 2 months, okay. This one will be 1 month. 2 months, yes. 3 months, yes. Okay, so plan one. 1,000 naira 1 month. 15,000 naira 2 months, or 20,000 naira for 3 months. So you pick any one there. So this one will be plan 2. This one will be plan 3. Okay. So this one name would be plan 3. And this one will be plan 3. Plan 3. Plan 3. So whatever means, okay, the front end guys gives us, sorry, plan 2. Just look for a way to grab that, to capture the information so you can process it at the back end, okay? Plan 2, right? So that is that. So let's see how this thing looks like in our front end. And next thing is another one that says a button, a submit button that says subscribe. Okay. Right. Let's excuse me. Right, so that's all we need for that. So if I go back to our site and refresh, oh, okay, deposit. So let's make a view that shows deposit. Okay, let's make a view that shows deposit. View. So in our case here, we just make a simple view that says deposit. Okay, deposit. This will be take a request. This will take a request, and this will return and render a request as well as an HTML form that's template called deposit.html. Right, so and the URL for this, right, in this case, I'll just push some things down since we're going to at this point. So the URL for this thing, I'll just go ahead and import it. I'll import it here. So import deposit. Okay. Alright. So down here would be a UI path that leads to deposit. Okay. A path that leads to deposit. Okay. And this should show a view of the deposit. Deposit. From view.import deposit. View.import deposit. Okay. Right. So I was wondering why we had that stuff dimmed. Okay. So the problem there was that command. Right. So next thing is name is equal to we call this one deposit. Okay. Alright, so let's see how this thing looks like on our browser. So we go to /deposit in our case. Right, so that's what we have. So we could pick any plan here. It's a radio button, so you can pick only one. That shouldn't happen. Okay, you should pick only one thing at a time. Pick only one thing at a time. So let's see what's happening. Deposit. Okay. Let's see. So let's just call all these things planned. Okay, let us call all these things planned. Not planned. That's specifying outline this. All right. Plan. All right. So let's refresh this. Let's see. Refresh. All right. So now we can select one thing at a time. Okay. Now you can select one thing at a time. Alright, so what we want to do next is because this thing is an input, right? So what we want to do is to pass a value to it, okay? A value of whatever value you have. So this one should be 10,000. The first one there should be 10,000, right? Paste this and then we copy this. This one should be 15,000. This other one should be 20,000. Alright, so that we can get those values at the back end. Okay, that's why we had to add those values there to that radio button. Okay, I think that's that. Next thing is we want to actually select a form and know what, and then we submit. Okay, so you want to submit to a URL called deposit. Right, you want to submit a URL called deposit. URL of account, of whom? Or deposit, I believe. Deposit, right? So if I refresh, I shouldn't give an error. Refresh, right? Alright, so with that, we could do what we could grab what the name and then the value. So whatever value it is, we just know which plan that person is subscribing for. Okay. So in our views, what we can now say we could check that if request dot method is equal to post. Okay. want to grab plan. Want to grab the plan from where? From request dot post. In our case it's post because it's not file, right? It's not file that the person is submitting again. It's actually a value, right? A value kind of stuff. Okay, and we call that thing plan. We call it plan in our case. We call it plan. So that once we grab that, we know from that point we know which plan the person has done what has subscribed for. Okay, so we can now do what? We can now show the person like a confirmation screen. So we could just say we want to return and render. And render what? Similar to what we did back then, doing the fetch and doing the update and updating, right? So we render a request, and then what we have to do here is we want to render a new form for a new HTML called confirm dash deposit. Okay, confirm dash deposit in our case here, and then we first context here, right? And then we come here and we say our context is equals to what? Plan. And this is equal to what? Plan. Okay? Right, so let's go ahead and create this other folder, copy this thing, dot HTML there. Okay. New file, press.html. Right, so this one will be a confirmation screen, okay? Confirmation screen that says this could be like a div that does what? This one would show what? The plan name. So it could be how to say this? H2, sorry, and it should be plan. And then whatever plan that person has picked, okay? So you could say plan 1, for instance, and then we could now come here and we could say A, P, and then we could say amount to be sure of the amount. Okay, so in here, just pass the plan, okay? Pass plan there. And then we put a button here that says, sorry, a button that says confirm deposit. All right. Right, that's that. So next thing is to do what? Is to write a view that actually even to write a URL to the confirm deposit. All right, so let's see what is happening here. So let's refresh this and let's subscribe to the plan, and then we, oh gosh, keep forgetting that thing. Deposit, we need our CR cross-site equals forgery token. Okay. Okay, so let's take this in line by line, right? So I refresh, I subscribe to the first plan, and then click on subscribe, and it takes us to this point that says plan 1 of amount 1,000 and says confirm deposit, right? So now at this point, this way paystack comes in, right? This way paystack comes in, right? At this point, this way paystack comes in. I believe we know how I managed to get to this point here, right? I believe there's no confusion.
No, sir.
Because we're about to move into the, all right, so we're about to move into the real deal now. So this way paystack comes in. So we want a situation where once a client or a customer or a user clicks this confirm button, what happens? It now does what now happens? Paystack now comes into play and then process that payment for us. Okay. So now back to the documentation, right? As a payment. So they say that in order to, this is just a sample form. As I am, this one is a form that assume you want to get something from the user, okay? From the user. So now in order to even use paystack, right? Or you need that script there, right? That script there. So we add this script to us, need that script, template head. So I recommend that we go through that page. It's easy to use and very simple, to be honest. So we come here and then we do what we add this file here to where confirm deposit. That's where we want the action to happen. So I'll put it right above there in the head and then put it there. Okay. Then next thing we want is JavaScript. The rest I don't want it. The rest you don't want. So I believe there should be a copy button somewhere here. Yeah. I'm just like this. Copy that. So copy this down here. Right. So now, what do we need now? Now we need a script tag because we are about to write what we want to write JavaScript. So we need a script tag, right? And then we press that code right there. So the code is now arranged. No problem. We arrange it. Let's tap this in. Tap this in. Tap that. Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so come here, we tap this one in. Come here, we tap this other one in. And lift that up. Two. Okay, if you tap this one out, we close that. Nope.
That's some
right.
knowledge of Java.
Right, so that's all. That's what we need. So now, the basic requirements for this to work is what? Is an email, because Paystack does what we'll have to do. What we'll send an email to that user, okay, that you've made payment on so and so platform or on so and so business. Now that business name will carry what? Will carry the name of this your business, okay? You carry the name of that business. So if it was code can dispose, it will show you that you've made a payment to what? To code can dispose, okay? So so the basic thing we need here is what? The email, and what? We need the email, and then we need what? We need the amount. And then this way the main thing starts. The public key, right? Your public key, right? So your public key, you need your public key, your Paystack public key. Well, in this case, I'll use my Paystack public test key, right? Not my public, but not my public live key, okay? But my test key, and then we see how this thing works. Okay, so now what is happening here, right? What is happening here? If you copy their form, okay, if you copy their form, you see that if you copy their form, you can see that this function here, okay, only get activated, or this function, this is a function, this is a JavaScript function, okay. It's okay if you don't know what this function does, okay, but this is JavaScript. This is pure JavaScript, right? Now, what this function does, it says that first of all, this is a way of declaring a constant variable in JavaScript, and then that will have what we call DOM manipulation. Okay, so that means what that means that you can grab a certain element in your HTML by either an ID or a class or an attribute or whatever. Okay, but in this case, they grab something by they grab the form, okay, by the ID of that form. If you go back to that information, you go back to the HTML, right? This is the form that has the idea of payment form, right? And then they now say grab that form, grab this form here, parents form, right? And save it, like grab the name of that form and then save it in what? In a variable called payment form, right? And then they now do what? JavaScript has what we call event listeners, right? Event listeners. And then what happens here? What happens is they answer that, okay, I once I grab that form, or once I grab that div or whatever, right? So in our case, we want to listen to, like, okay, let me say, sorry, let me see, I can break it down. What is happening here, okay, is JavaScript has what we call event listeners. Event listeners is simply a way of listening to something, okay, like let's say that you set let's say like an alarm or something, okay, and it says that, and that alarm says that, okay, once it's 9 p.m. ring an alarm for me to do this, okay. It's similar to this event listeners, okay. So what happens is they added an event listener to what? To this form, to this form here. to this for this whole form here, they added an event listener there, and they say that okay, that they want to do what they want to do something when it's not what submit. So in their case here, the event that they're waiting for is a submit event. Okay, it's a submit event, right? That's what they are actually looking for here in this one, and then once that happens, the rest of that thing happens. Okay, this one is not really your own problem. They will take care of that. That's for paystack to have the one. So now they go ahead and they call a paystack function, and then the function will do, and then this function will do what? Will take this requirement or this required field. Okay, your paystack key, your email, and then the amount, right? Then the amount. This reference number here is optional in a sense. Okay, it's optional, right? But because this thing will automatically generate that for you, okay, automatically. So let's go ahead and see what happens here. So in our case, let's go ahead and put this in a form, right? Let's put this in a form, right? Without specifying what the form does, whether it's a post or a get, okay, just a form, right? And then we go ahead and do what? We cut this whole thing. Sorry, undo. We cut this one to there, and then we paste it. Okay, and then we tap this one in, right? And then this should be a type of what? Submit, because that is what that function is waiting for. Okay, it's waiting for you to click what? A submit button, right? So once you click a submit button, what happens? This thing here does what? Will activate, or this code here will do what? Will get and will execute itself. Okay. So now what happens now is that you have to do what? We have to call this form, this payment form, right? So now whatever you if yours was, let's say this, if this your form here, okay, this your form here was could come dispose form, okay, could come form, right? Then that's what you should call down here, right? So whatever you call down here is what should be the ID of your form. The ID of your form is what you should is what you are going to call down here. Okay, so in their case, they made use of payment form, which if you look at this, the idea of what here is called payment form. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and use their ID. But if you don't want to use theirs, you can go ahead and just call yours whatever you like. Okay, and then make sure this should be the same thing there. Okay, so I'll go ahead and paste this, paste that there. All right. So, and then what else we need is what we need else is what? To put the event itself on the button, on what? This button itself. So what you see here that says on click, execute this. All right. So copy this, paste it after the type of information, paste it there. Now what happens is this is a JavaScript function, right? It says that once a user click this button, I want it to do what? To execute this function called pay with paystack. And where is that function? This is the function here called pay with paystack, right? That's the function. That's how you write function in JavaScript. Okay, don't worry if you don't understand, but I recommend you learn JavaScript. It's useful at times. Okay, it's useful at times. In fact, it's really useful. Okay, it's a nice programming language. If you can add JavaScript to Python, you go a long way, and then probably you learn a framework like, let's say, React, and then React and Django. You should see the power that those two things can do. You should see how they work like machines. So now what's happening here? We are saying that once a user click on this button that says confirm deposit, want to do what? Want to execute this function that is here. So the rest of what happens there belongs to who? So it belongs to how do you call it? Belongs to paystack. Okay, so paystack will handle the rest of it. Okay, so now, but yes, what we need here, we need what? We need the email and what? The value. Now this value, you notice they multiplied this value by 100. Okay, that's how it should be. Okay, that's how it should be. So let's say that you want to charge a user 15 naira. Okay. So now it should be 15 naira times 100, okay? That's how it should be. If you go through that documentation, and you see why that is that, okay? You see why that is that. So I believe that is that. So now what you have to do now is we have to grab where are you? The plan, that's the amount, okay? The amount, okay? So far this amount comes in string, okay? Let me show you what I mean. If I print this, if I print the type of this type of plan, it comes in as a string, okay? But it's number. If you go to our deposits, we have 15,000 here, right? But if we pass that to our database, we see that comes in as a string. So if I refresh this, I click on this and click on subscribe, okay, and then go back to my terminal, it comes as a class of string, okay. That's because of that quotation, right? Of this quotation here, right? And you cannot just pass it like that. So what you want to do now is to collect that value, okay, and convert it to integer. So I can come here and say that I want to get the integer value of it, right? Use the int function. Sorry, I couldn't really talk about the int, the string, the list, and the float function, right? But these things here are keyword, right? That convert data from one data set to another, from one data type to another data type. Okay, so in our case, say if I let me show you a quick example. Let me show you a quick. In 5, okay, and then I say that now if I do the type of A, it will show me string, okay, but if I want to convert this to integer, I can just say print, and we just say print int of what A, and that will convert that to what, to integer. Okay, that's just pure Python. So I could also say print float, okay, float of what, of A, and that will convert this 5 to a float. That should be like this one here will give us something like 5 without the string, and this one here will give us 5.0. That's a float. This one here will give us 5.0. So the same thing. So same thing is what we are doing here. Okay, we are actually converting that string of whatever is coming there to what, to integer, right? So that we can actually pass it away to paystack, so that paystack can do what, can go ahead and process that payment. Okay, so so far that is, we are up and we are good here. So now what we want to do now is in the confirm deposit. Almost done here. We're almost done here. But confirm deposit. Okay. So now remember that this plan. Sorry.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, please. Can I just have a view of all the JavaScript, the scripts code, so that I can use it, because I actually got network issue.
Okay, so let me just drop this link for us, and then go from the code is here, right? The JavaScript code is here, but we are going to change few things here, right? To meet like to fit what we need. Okay, we change few things to fit what we need. Okay, so so remember that this plan is what is the amount that is our speaks. Okay, so if I go back to our this, remember the plan, what is the amount that is 10,000 there, right? So because plan is the amount, we can now come here to amount and do what, and move all these things here and do what, and put our amount. Okay, and put our amount. So that thing will show you a bunch of red lines there. That's because JavaScript do not understand those things there. But when Django will process it will be in the correct form. Okay, so I'll just put plan there, right? So that plan there now is what, the amount. So next thing we want is what, the email. It is required. Okay, paystack wants that email, right? Paystack wants that email. So now if I click on this, so let's just clear this. Now, if I come here and I say something like request dot user dot email. If this user does not have an email, this thing will throw up an error. So I believe that one way or the other, we have to do what, grab that user email, right? So in our case, I just do this in a hard-coded way. Okay, but when you are doing this, please make sure you grab that user email. If preferably, grab it from where? Grab it from the views. So you could just come here and say email, okay? But since you know that you need that email, you can come here and just do what and get the request dot user dot email, okay? And that will do what, that will grab the current logged in user email, okay? So in that case, I'll just do that. I'll just write that out with my hand. With my hand, okay? So come here and there would be an email. So come here and put an email. Let's say I put say your Bazi, or let's say your Bazi. Probably just get the Bazi 2021 at Yahoo, okay? .com. And so the same for Gmail, the same for every other mail. Yeah, Bazi 2021. Right. So that's so now the email is there, the amount is here. And then this one here is optional, but let's just leave it there for now. Right? So let's see that. So then the last thing we need is what? Your API key, right? Your public API key, please. Public API key. So in my case, I'll use what? I'll use the test API in my case. So I believe that you've signed up and you've done what? You've logged in, right? You've signed up and you've logged in, right? So now you should have an ability to you should have the ability to toggle this thing from test to what to live mode, okay? I won't toggle mine in for this class. I won't toggle mine, okay? But I believe once you sign up and you've given them all what they need, this thing should be available for you. So for this class, I'll use the test mode, okay? It's not actual money, just fake money, okay? Do not actually charge you money. But when you're deploying this for production, please use if you have a work that actually requires you to charge, like you charging, please use the live mode key, okay? So what you want to do is to grab your API keys, okay? Grab your API keys. Let me see. Okay. Let me see the settings. Okay, go to your settings. When you go to your settings, you go to click on API keys, okay? Click on API keys, right? Click on API keys. And what you want me to see here, what me a few seconds. I need my test keys. Alright, in my test keys. Give me a few seconds, let me get it. There's that stuff. My test keys. Okay. Good. Yeah. First line. Give me a few seconds, guys, please. Put a hell work here. Alright, so can't find it. Simple googling. Paystack public key. Yes, no. Paystack for test mode public key. Okay. Scroll to where it says API conversion. Just move where you can see. So is that?
Nothing.
Nothing. Alright, okay. Alright, so let's go and find it again. It says scroll to where? Scroll to settings. Honestly, I'm looking for. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay, it's down here. Sorry. Right. So this is the when you click on your when you sign up and you click on settings. Okay. Go to API keys and webhooks. Right. So up there is your live mode. Remember live mode. This one is for this one here is for the and this one here is for production. Okay. This one down here is for what? For testing purpose. So in my case, I'll copy mine here. copy that one there, paste public key, okay, and then go back to where to the form and then replace this thing with that. So when I paste this thing down there, and that's the key right there. So everything is up and running, okay, at least. So let's just see if this thing actually works, right? So let's see if this thing actually works first, and then we can continue, okay? So you go back to the what to our page, and then I'll refresh this. So let's do our 20,000. Okay, my server is hanging. What's going on? Oh, sorry. There's an error somewhere. So this one here, so. Okay. Right, so. Right, so I refresh it and so I click on 20,000. So I click subscribe and it shows me like a confirmation page that says confirm deposit. So now once I click on confirm deposit, now you have this thing turning here, right, at the center of this thing here, okay? But that's paystack, right? Trying to do what? Trying to process payments for us, right? That's paystack. So now this how it will look like, right? This how the payments will look like. So that's my email there, right? So now this is the email that paystack will send to me saying that I've made payment to so and so what, to so and so whosoever, okay? So if this was a test or a live mode, it was given if you choose card, right? It will give you an option to put like your your card number, CVV, and expiry date, and so on and so forth. And then it says click with what paystack, right? So now here, what's happening here? We have an option of what of a sample cards, right? So this thing there are assumed to be cards, okay? Assumed to be cards. So this up one here is a Visa card. Here is a Visa card. This one is a Visa card, but this one here is like a success one. Like if you want to see if what happens once that transaction goes through, right? And the other one is like a card that will show you what happens once a transaction fails, okay? So in our case, I'll just click this one and then click pay, and then it says payment successful, and then it says and then this thing now shows what a payment reference, okay, a reference. So now if you click and that is that for that payment, I believe that if I go to my mail, I should get a mail from Paystack saying that I have paid something on that platform, okay? So that's that with the Paystack payment. Okay, so next thing you want to do is you want to actually redirect the user to somewhere, okay, once this payment is done, okay, because it's annoying that after your payment and then it shows you successful, you are still on this page, right? So how do you actually redirect? Okay, so now JavaScript has what we call a callback function, okay? A callback function, okay? It's a function that gets executed once that payment is what is successful, okay? It's okay. So now, your question.
So please, for the project purpose, are we going to use live or we're going to use text?
Please use your test keys. Use your test keys.
Okay, sir. Sir, also please, in your views, I saw you delete to about 3 lines of code. Was that not necessary?
No, it was an example. Okay, I was explaining the int and float, how it works.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right. So now Paystack has what we call a callback function, right? It calls a particular URL. Okay, once that payment is successful, only if that payment is successful. Okay, to our own advantage to do what? To verify a payment, okay? To verify a payment. So if I come here again, if you scroll down, please I recommend we read this doc. It's helpful. And it's simple to use. You don't have to no installation, nothing, just let them do their thing for you, okay? Okay, so if you scroll down, it says what yes, here is what the callback function, right? The callback function. So there are two ways of doing this, right? There are two ways you can do it. You can do this using Ajax, right? You're using Ajax, right? But in our case, I will say let's do this using this, right? Let's do this using that. Okay. let's do this using that. Reasons being, they both sides work. Okay, both sides work. So, but for the sake of this class, I'll use this second one. But this one looks simple. Okay, this one is Ajax. It's like a subtopic under JavaScript. Okay, because if you know JavaScript, you must know Java. You must know Ajax. Okay, you can't just miss it. Right. So, for simplicity's sake, I will use this one, please. I'll use the second one. Okay, I'll use the second one. It does the same thing. Okay, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't change anything. It does the same thing. So, and you can then read through it and see how that thing works. So I'll copy this one. Okay, copy that one and go back to where? Go back to the HTML. The confirm deposit HTML. So if we look at this, okay, so here it just, now we don't want this to happen, right? We don't want to show this like this. We want to actually take this out to some other place, right? Take this out to some other place, right? So now I'll come here. I'll comment on this out. Okay, comment on that out. Press this. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Undo. So just this line of code. Sorry, not the entire line. Just this line of code. So come here, copy this line of code. Copy it, and then go back to where? Paste it here. All right. So that's this is the URL that will be called once this function is what is successful. Okay. So if this thing is successful, it will call that particular URL. It only works if and only this function only gets executed if and only if that transaction is successful. So you have to worry about what if the thing gets executed and then transaction was not successful. It can never happen. Okay, it can never happen. Let's make sure of that. Right. So what we want to do is just to change this whole thing to a Django URL. Easy peasy, right? So let's just go ahead and let's say where it says confirm deposit. Let's see if you have a view for confirm deposit. So we don't have a view for confirm deposit. Okay. So just make a view for confirm deposit right here. A dev view that says confirm deposit, right? Deposit. Or we could just redirect them to home, right? But we have to redirect them to home if you want to, right? Let's just do that. Okay? But if you want to, let's say that because you have to keep track of this deposit, right? You have to keep track of deposit. So I would say that what you want to do is create a model for deposit and then keep track of them, right? So now you only mark a record successful if a particular transaction has been successful. So that's where you actually need to do what to redirect them where to verify deposit view, okay, and then verify that transaction. I don't know if you guys understand what I mean, but let's just redirect this code to where to. Let's just redirect them to redirect them to go ahead, copy this thing. Let's redirect them to a URL called home.home. So after they've made the transaction, we want to take them to a URL called home.home. Home.home. Right? Right, so let's see how that works. So let's go back here. You refresh again, cancel this, go back, refresh. This time let's pick the one of 10,000. Subscribe. It says cannot do what? Oh, sorry. It should be percentage sign. Okay, and then refresh this. Don't submit. Refresh this. Click 10,000 and then click on I still saying something else. Oh, I'm beginning to rush. So this should forget to close that in quotation. Right. Go back, refresh this, click on one of 10,000 and then click on subscribe, and it says if you are sure or you want to confirm the deposit, you click on deposit and then paystack will do what it does best. Okay. And then it shows 10,000. Now you can see that the prices are dynamic. If you have 10,000 here, right? They are dynamic. That's because we made that so it's not static. All right. So do the same thing for the email. Make sure that this email is dynamic. It should be the email of a logged in user. All right. So we have some certain means
Bank.
of this in your payments here. We have bank, or we have USSD, and what happens here? It will generate a payment, shall I say, code for you, and then you just get it on your phone, and it will get activated. But in our case, let's just go ahead and still stick with the card. So I click on card of success, and then click on pay, and then it says successful, and then what happens? It takes us back to where? To home. All right. So that was successful, and that was good. So, but so far we haven't actually keep track of